Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Got a grin on my face because, if you didn't know, Chelsea beat West Ham in a London derby last night. 6 things we learnt was a good one. YouTube tells you how well your videos are performing. That was one of the last 10. So thank you for all the love and support on the match review. But today we start Monday morning with a video that we could have made yesterday, but as a result of the result, I didn't want to just, bring all of the bad news in the same kind of video or within the same couple of hours as talking about a 90th minute Christian Pulisic winner to win a London derby. But the news has surfaced, it's broken, all of the speculation is pretty much now over unless there is some kind of dramatic turn of events. But Toni Rudiger is going to be leaving Chelsea Football Club this summer on a free transfer. Not only is Rudiger going to be leaving on a free, but Andreas Christensen, a man who's been at the club for over 10 years, is also leaving free of charge. First things first, Rudiger is the main topic of today's video, so we're going to talk about him in a bit more detail. But we do also need to mention Andreas Christensen and the fact that he's leaving. We don't fully have this confirmed yet, but what I do find very, very confusing about the whole Christensen story is that we found out quicker about Rudiger when Rudiger was like, I'm going to make a decision before the end of the month. There is still 6 days left in April, or 5 days left in April. I don't think I can count. I've been on the planet for 27 years. I still don't know how many days in each month. But we finally know more about Rudiger leaving Chelsea than we do anything about Christensen leaving Chelsea. Now, I don't know if it's simply a case of Christensen can't make up his mind. Chelsea kind of need to be in a position of clarity here, especially the manager Thomas Tuchel. At the moment, we can't sign any players because the purchasing of Chelsea Football Club ordeal is being dragged on to the point where, like I said to you guys yesterday, it feels a little bit like an American entertainment TV show at this point, where one by one, as if it's some kind of challenge to Takeshi's Castle kind of vibe, we lose somebody, but there's still a couple more left, and then everyone starts comparing the two. I understand that this kind of multi-billion-dollar decision isn't something you can just make with your wallet sat there in the pub with a £10 note inside of it. It doesn't work that way. But at the same time, it is the fact that Chelsea have been sanctioned. It is the fact that we have to go through with this process of a sale that, in my opinion, has led Rudiger to agreeing to leave Chelsea. Not only that, but when you've been as brilliant of a centre-half as Toni Rudiger's been in the past couple of seasons, well, since Thomas Tuchel came in, really, we'll take a look at the stats before and after in a moment. But when you've had such a high-profile rise right to the top of people's idea of who the best centre-backs are, Rudiger's always going to get wonderful offers from some of Europe's best clubs. And unfortunately, the team that knocked Chelsea out of the Champions League this season, the team that we knocked out last year, it looks as though Chelsea are going to feed Real Madrid with top quality talent once again. But the fact it's on a free is the part that absolutely bugs me no end, because what it means is that Chelsea have no choice here but to go out and spend significant sums of money to even come close, potentially, to replacing the ability, the leadership that Toni Rudiger brought to this team. Christensen being sold. Let's talk about that for a second. Yes, we still don't have 100% confirmation that this is going to be happening. However, there are enough decent journalists right now talking about the fact that both Christensen and Rudiger are leaving this summer. When Chelsea are in a position where, as much as we've got our top targets, we don't really know how whoever takes over at the club, as much as we have an idea that probably should be Todd Boehly. In fact, it should be Todd Boehly's group at this point, because we'll talk about the rest in a moment, or later on in a different video, shall I say. But the fact that Chelsea have got to go out and spend big means that whatever other ideas we have of strengthening defensive midfield positions, backup for right back, backup for left wing back if we're still not sold on Alonso, backup for a striker if Romelu Lukaku decides that he wants out again. You look at what is going to happen at Chelsea this summer, and there are so many what ifs that entirely depend on this ownership situation and what they want to do regards spending money. Chelsea are in a predicament right now where, as a result of Christensen and Rudiger leaving, we are left with a 37-year-old Thiago Silva, who, by the way, is still absolutely brilliant, and Azpilicueta, who is declining. As much as we might not want to believe it, he is, let's be honest. Trevor Chalobah, who's also kind of been frozen out in recent games by Thomas Tuchel, and if it wasn't for Christensen's stomach cramps returning again, then he probably wouldn't have started the game yesterday. And then you got Malang Sarr, who we just know isn't Chelsea level. So when you look at that, you go from having a Champions League winning defence who are breaking records for the amount of goals we concede in the good way, to losing that. And you lose a man who has been an ever-present in Thomas Tuchel's team. If we look at Toni Rudiger's performances before Thomas Tuchel took over, he was playing for Chelsea and getting a clean sheet in 31% of his matches. Scored 6 goals, the same as he has since Thomas Tuchel took over, but with a centre-back, you're not looking at the goals. You're looking at how many clean sheets, 39 in 125 games. Chelsea were conceding goals for fun. Recently, it's kind of been the same, but if we move into the stats under Thomas Tuchel, and things dramatically improve, which is why Rudiger's now being considered as one of the best centre-backs in the world. 37 clean sheets in 71 games, 52% of matches that Rudiger plays for Chelsea, he keeps a clean sheet in. Which, considering we're not just talking about, League Cup games, FA Cup games, we're talking about Chelsea trying to compete near the top of the Premier League, winning the Champions League during these 71 matches. Rudiger's glow-up has been absolutely superb. And I think that I can't get my head around the fact that these players, particularly Toni Rudiger, are leaving for absolutely nothing. Real Madrid are looking at Chelsea not only with a ticket into the semi-final of this year's Champions League, but with one of the bargains of the century. We got Thiago Silva on a free, and we've done nothing but praise how wonderful that piece of business was for Chelsea. But Thiago Silva joined in his mid-30s. Toni Rudiger, yeah, he's 29 years old, but he's not even 30 yet. And Real Madrid are getting this guy for free. I find it absolutely mind-blowing. But unfortunately, as much as we can sit here and complain all we want about feeling as though it's unjust because of sanctions, it's unjust because of forced ownership changes, Chelsea are going to have to deal with this now. And I think, realistically, there was only really one way this was going to go. There was no... Rudiger was offered a deal, supposedly, that was in excess of $200,000 a week. And again, when we compare this back to John Terry, I know that football's changed dramatically, but John Terry, during his time at Chelsea, was never on more than 135 grand a week. If Chelsea offered Rudiger 100,000 more than what we were paying our greatest ever centre-back and captain, that just proves that Chelsea rated Toni Rudiger so incredibly highly. And as much as it might not be the amount that he wanted, and there is reports that the signing on fee and agents' fees that Rudiger was asking for was the point where Chelsea balked and said, well, we're not going to offer you this. You're 29 years old. The club has had a very strict policy of what we offer to players over the age of 30. And Rudiger's only 1 year younger than that. So we're not going to give in fees just to agree this new contract. We're not going to give the kind of money that we could actually buy or put towards a vast percentage of a new centre-back signing, plus all of the significant fees that you would get as a result of becoming one of Chelsea's highest paid players. Yes, I would argue that Toni Rudiger deserves that based off of the glow-up that we talk about since Lampard left. But also, I can understand why, even pre-Roman Abramovich being forced to sell the club, with the way that Chelsea conduct business, with the way that Marina likes to dig in to make sure that we are not taking the piss. I say that now with some serious scepticism because, quite frankly, Chelsea have had the piss taken out of them far too often by players coming in on far too much money who have underperformed significantly. So all of the arguments I see about Rudiger wanted too much and I agree that Chelsea shouldn't have paid it, I only understand it based off of historical information where we've seen Chelsea absolutely shut down on some of our top players when they've demanded something which the club considers to be astronomical above what we would be willing to pay them. But with all of the stories of the past, of disastrous Chelsea transfers gone wrong, I just feel as though somehow the club have missed the boat here and they have let one of the world's best centre-backs slip through our fingers when he wanted to stay. And obviously we can't foreshadow all of the events that have followed as a result of Abramovich losing the club, forced sales, sanctions, inability to actually get player signatures through the door in recent times when Rudiger was delaying. But my biggest worry here is that when we look in the market, Jules Koundé's the top target. Levi Colwill, quality coming back from Huddersfield, but he's 19 years old, 10 years younger than Rudiger with only one top season in the championship of reference points for Chelsea to look at. So as a result of this, I can conclude that the sale of both Christensen and Rudiger for free not only leaves Chelsea in a very sticky financial situation with having to go out and splash cash on centre halves, but we all have an idea of needing to spend money pretty much in every position all over the field apart from the goalkeepers at this moment. You just wonder whether or not this summer could be the one where, unless whoever comes in is willing to throw serious money at this team, Chelsea are going to get left behind. Unless the structure of how we conduct ourselves with scouting, transfers coming in, and how we manage players that we don't offer stupid money, Danny Drinkwaters, etc. This is a massive summer for Chelsea. Massive in every single sense, because we will get left behind by Liverpool and City. We will absolutely become the way that Arsenal have become if the new ownership don't come in and have the success of the club at the forefront of our minds. There isn't anything that highlights this more than the void that's going to be left by Christensen and Rudiger leaving, needing to spend and buy 2 more centre-backs, or maybe 1, but at least 1, top quality 1. Chelsea, it's worrying. It is significantly worrying. Please let me know in the comments down below who your number 1 target is for a replacement. I think Jules Koundé and Wesley Fofana from Leicester are 2 that I'm seeing Chelsea linked with, and 2 that I actually do rate very highly. And with Thomas Tuchel in charge, we've seen how he managed Rudiger to make him the defender that we are now so gutted to lose. I believe he can do the same again. But yeah, needed to dedicate a video to this one today. I'm gutted. I'm worried that we won't get it right moving forward, but ownership, can we please sort this out now so that we get a bit of clarity and understanding of what we can do going forward? Because I think the longer this goes on, the harder it will be for Chelsea to actually bring in significant talent this summer. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Come on, you Blues.